Is it just me, or did summer never actually come? It's not seemed to stop raining for most of the time. So instead, why don't we have a look at the summer 32-bit jam? There's plenty of summery games in there that can make us feel like it's summer. I hope you guys aren't seasick. This first one we've got here is Diluvian Arc. It's a turn-based strategy combat game, and it's got this story of how the Earth is like basically covered in water. All of the land is gone, and you're like fighting for survival. The aim of the game is to get to the flagpole at the end, but unfortunately I couldn't do that because I sucked at it. But it's got some good combat mechanics, some good enemy design. All of the characters look really well designed as well. It's a good effort for this one. Whoa, that was close. This next one is Carnavaler 3D. It's a really cool puzzle game where you're basically bouncing balls into a crate. It sounds simple, but they do a lot with it. There's a lot of different obstacles that you've got to bounce the balls around and get a certain amount of balls into the box in a time frame. There's quite a few levels, and all of the graphics look really good. Whoa! Steady on there, mate. This next one is one of my personal favourites. It's called Cloud Cargo, and you're flying a ship through the mountains, collecting boxes of cargo and avoiding enemies and rocks and other things like that. There's speed boost power-ups that you can get as well. I wonder if that's those flying whales that Gojira was singing about. All of the models look really well designed. It's got a really nice, dreamy vibe to it. I really enjoyed this one, had a lot of fun with it. This next one is called Invasion. There's only one enemy variety, unfortunately, but there's a few different stages, 5 in total I think. So there's been a lot of work put into the stages. I think they look quite cool. And they've got that PS1 filter effect on them, where all the textures are kind of wobbly. The graphics look really cool, but I think it would definitely benefit with maybe a few extra enemy types, maybe some flying enemies. That'd probably be quite cool. Maybe even some bosses as well. But it's a good effort overall. This next one is called Coastal Groove, and it's another one of my personal favourites because it's just so like sweet and wholesome. It's a 3D platformer where the entire aim of the game is to find sad people and dance next to them to cheer them up, which I don't know, that's just so sweet and wholesome. So you're platforming onto rooftops and across islands, and you've got to find all of the sad people within a certain time limit and cheer them up. It's quite tricky actually. The first few levels are manageable, but then when it gets to like the 3rd and 4th level, they get very tight on time, and you've got to really optimize how you platform across the stages to get to everyone. But this is a really good game. I hope they do more with it actually, because a full game of this would be pretty cool. This next one is called Smile and Wave, and that reminds me, I didn't actually say the theme of the jam. The whole theme of the jam is summer, but the kind of sub-theme is waves, and a lot of people incorporated that really interestingly. This is just kind of a standard like Mario Kart kind of game, but with some really cool level design. All of the characters are like pre-rendered sprites, and I really like that style. Like the old Donkey Kong Country had that, It does look really cool. There's some good power-ups in the game as well. Really good effort for this one. This next one is quite simple, but it's still quite interesting and fun. It's called Shoreline of Defense, and it's a tower defense kind of game. There's quite a few different enemy varieties. You can shoot the enemies yourself, but you can also get towers that will shoot at the enemies for you. The game gets pretty difficult after a while, but I managed to complete it. This next one is kind of a racing game. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. I think it might be doraibu or something like that. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that, but it's got a Japanese aesthetic and like kind of a PS1 aesthetic as well. This next one is also really interesting. It's called Daisy Chain, and you're like a bounty hunter or something of that nature, and you basically search for distress signals coming from planets, and then you go and help them out. And this time you've landed in a facility, and an EMP has basically stopped your ship from working. So you need to go into the facility and figure out what's going on. And at the end, there's a bomb that goes off, and you've got to get out of the facility before it goes off. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out where to go, and I got blown up. But either way, it's still a good effort. This next one is called Radio Rider, and I don't really get it. I think it's just kind of an exploration game. You're just sort of flying around on your hoverboard until you find some towns. It's very interesting, like exploring around. There's not a whole lot of stuff to do, like gameplay wise, but still a neat little experience. So this next one is absolutely my favourite. It's Ruin Hunter 3D, and you may remember that I've covered this one before in a previous jam, but back then it was kind of on a single level. This new version, there's a bit more verticality to it, and there's a lot of more interesting level design as well. There's only one type of enemy, unfortunately, but it's kind of a decent enemy. There's lots of different weapons to collect. It's only a short level, but it's really, really well made. I really like the graphics. I really like all the texture work and all of the models. They look really good. I hope this continues and becomes a full game, because from what I've already seen, it's looking really cool. This next one is called Neil Rider, and it's about a cool action hero who does cool action hero things. There's only 2 levels in this game. It's like a third-person shooter. It's quite interesting. There's a few different weapons that you get access to. It confused me a bit with where to go at first, but I found out eventually, and it's good. It's well designed. The levels are pretty cool. All of the gameplay mechanics are pretty tight as well. The models are well made. So yeah, good effort with this one, and I hope it continues and maybe becomes a full game. This next game is called Summer Beach, and they've kind of gone all out with this game. There's voice acting, and there's like a whole PlayStation 1-esque intro to it as well, which is really cool. And they've incorporated the themes really well as well. It's set on a beach, obviously, so very summery vibes, and then also they've got the signal aspect incorporated it into it as well, because you have this big, like, kind of boombox radio kind of thing, and you carry it around, and you've got to tune it to certain frequencies to destroy the aliens that are coming down to get you. And each frequency of the radio has its own colour, and the aliens also have a colour, so you've basically got to tune it to the right colour to destroy the alien. It's a really, really cool game. It almost looks like a PlayStation 1 / Dreamcast game, almost. It just looks really cool, and I'm really happy with this one. I hope that it gets expanded upon. This next one is called Rockin Walkman, and in my opinion, it is the best game in this jam. I'm not sure if it won or not, but I feel like it should have won, because it's the most, like, expansive game in the jam. The graphics look really, really good, and there's a lot of variety, a lot of things to find and things to collect. I didn't even manage to collect everything because it's so big. I only played it for a little bit, just to get some footage, but I don't want to show you too much of it. I want you to go and play this game for yourself if you can, if you want to, just because it's a really cool experience. It's also a really unique design that they've put into it. Is you're a Sony Walkman. I think that's the brand that created it. So you're like a little portable music player, and you can tune yourself to different frequencies, different radio stations. And there's radio stations that play ambient music, there's ones that play DnB, and ones that play hip-hop. And when you tune to these different radio stations, you get different abilities, which is, like, really, really cool. DnB makes you run really fast. Hip-hop, I think, gives you a double jump, and then ambient makes you jump really high and you fall slower, I think. I might be wrong on that, but that is a really, really cool mechanic, and it's not one that I've seen in a game before. So yeah, this is definitely, like, one of the coolest games out of the jam, and I hope that it becomes a full game because it's super cool. There's a couple I wanted to mention together: Melon, Signal, Car Game, and Too Fast. I'm mentioning these together because I either didn't really have much to say about them, or I couldn't really get very far with them because I couldn't figure out what I was doing. But I just wanted to mention them because these are also in the jam. Okay, last and certainly least is my game. Why is it least? It sucks. Quite frankly, it sucks. I was making really good progress, I felt, towards the start of the month, and then as the end of the month came, I was kind of scrambling to get everything finished, and unfortunately there's only one level, and there's not really any way to win. Yeah, I got the main gameplay loop down, and there's a bunch of different characters to play as, but other than that, it needs a lot of work, and I'm going to do some more work to it. In fact, I've actually already added power-ups to it. I've started adding a new location to race around as well, and I've added backgrounds as well. Also, I was working with someone else on this game, and they've provided some really good sort of ambient drum and bass. So there's a few drum and bass tracks that will be going into the game, which sound really good. I'm really happy with what this person's done for the game. Yeah, but Stay tuned for that, because there'll be more info on that later. Right, thank you very much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment what was your favourite of these games. And as always, all of the links to these games will be in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.